And we're live. Welcome to the Gored Pub, where we're getting our pumpkin on.
Pumpkin spice painting.
There you go.
Spicy pumpkin painting.
No, I don't think that's quite right.
What's not quite right?
I expect a different kind of artwork if you say spicy pumpkin.
I don't know. Maybe. Don't know what you expect. I do take commissions.
God, that's a lot of dark thoughts just going through my brain. Things I'm just not quite going to say on the internet.
Yeah, like you're not thinking pumpkin, you're thinking children of the porn.
No, I was thinking more along the lines of, it's real easy to get the real thing right now. This just sounds wrong.
Yes, it did. Right.
So, yeah, I can't. Other than werewolf stuff, was there anything else that was? I know.
That's a horrible way to start a conversation.
Well, I was just is there?
It's even the season for it, and
Yeah, no. I was asking about the submission about that.
I don't even know if I don't know if I'm gonna be done in time for the submission, honestly. But I really don't care because it's a werewolf story, and now I've got my brain working. So what's so unfortunate is that I'm struggling a little bit with the novel because it never was something I would have set out to write. That kind of makes it a little bit more difficult because, don't get me wrong, there are things that I'm interested in with it, but they're not. If I was going to write an Arthurian story just of my own choosing,
yeah,
it would not be with a kid protagonist.
Well, yeah, I agree. I don't think I would go there.
And it wouldn't start off with Arthur as a kid as well. You know what I mean? They're like, when I say kid protagonist, I mean all the way around. I'm just starting to kind of come to terms with what I can leave out of the story.
Yeah.
And if I was writing this as a kid's novel, which I'm not, I could literally be halfway done right now, and it hasn't really gotten to any action. Just that one sequence with his sister, and a back in time sequence. But there are other things that I've got yet to cover, and now I've got to make them more believable because, like I said, he wrote it almost like a cartoon, but I actually think that's because the audience that he was trying to write for was mid-grade, I think. And I I'm clueless there. Like the closest I can come to writing something mid-grade or even thinking about something mid-grade would be like, and I'm sure it's not mid-grade, like Turok, the dinosaur, not the dinosaur hunter, Turok, like Wolf Brother, like the 𝒊𝒏𝒊𝒏𝒈 series. That I could maybe see. But I'm really having a hard time seeing it elsewhere. I think I actually am going to have to paint with some black too.
Uh-oh.
Well, I was going to... This is all silhouette background stuff though. I was going to try to just mix it like I did with the pumpkin where it was more brown or whatever. But I think I'm going to need the extra... So... dig out the... Nope, that's not it. Yeah, nope, that's not it. That's purple.
Uh-oh. Purple.
Carbon black. Okay, so back to your...
Well, I was just...
Other than... That's a lot of black. Other than werewolf...
Is that the only requirement? I mean, in the length.
2,000 to 4,000 words.
Yeah.
Said that they would look into something longer.
Yeah.
But not to really expect anything at that. Which, that's not surprising for me at all. They do accept reprints, but like the only reprint werewolf story I've got is way too long. They're not paying bad prices for them either, though.
I know.
I mean, I'm talking about reprint.
Oh, I saw that. I don't have anything like that.
I was surprised that they're paying such high price for reprint because usually that's the lower end of the scale. The lower end of the scale.
So I was looking at some artwork. Just
As opposed to now. No, really. Anyway, go ahead.
As opposed what? Okay.
You were looking at some artwork.
Okay. Well, I was looking at other artwork, and
I don't really care. You don't have to like my work.
Well, this is way different than what you're doing, and I didn't know what the artist's name was.
I hope so. You called it artwork.
And no, his name Hieronymus Bosch. Do you know the name?
Yeah, it's not my thing.
But here's the thing. I really, really like that name.
Well, so did was it Conley?
Oh.
Who wrote the Bosch series? Harry Bosch is Hieronymus Bosch.
Oh, God, that sucks. Oh. I knew about the Bosch series. I did not know his name was Hieronymus. God, that sucks. Well, it's better to find that out now than later. Wow, the amount of work that goes into being creative. Here I am, just liking the artwork. And God bless it.
Yeah, I'm not really a Hieronymus Bosch fan. It's a bunch of kind of disgusting stuff.
I just knew about Bosch as because there's a show. I think it's based on it.
What's that?
I think there's a show based on it.
Based on what?
Hieronymus Bosch or Harry Bosch.
Yeah, that's based on the Bosch books.
Right. Okay. That's. But I know I knew the show by name of Bosch, but I had not known anything else.
Right. We were just talking about the artist for a minute. And I was saying that that's not my bag. I don't like that work. It's pretty disgusting most of all. For the most part. You know, I'm not against anybody liking whatever they want to like, but that's not my thing.
Well, no, I was looking for like depictions of hell.
Well,
so
none of this Bosch would pop up there. That'd be a natural.
Yeah.
So would let me think. Augustus Door.
Yeah, that's not as cool as a Hieronymus.
You're talking about depictions of hell, not the artist's name.
I know, but I was all excited really about the name.
Is a pretty well-known name. And I don't think there's any characters named after him.
What the?
Bernini, that's another one. You see his work displayed in museums and the Da Vinci Code and stuff like that because he was a sculptor for the Catholic Church. He also was a painter. Are you looking specifically for artists' names?
No, I wasn't.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
But I got excited about the name more than the artwork, actually. So that was the kind of. It's a bummer.
It's Michael Connelly, right?
Who?
That wrote Bosch.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the name of the author. He's been writing Bosch for a long time, so he's been interested in it for longer.
Well, let's just see. Well, it'd be a lot easier if I just looked up this way. God bless it. Yeah, Michael Connelly. Yeah.
Yeah, I was pretty sure, but there's so many writers, and Connelly, there's a couple of different names that are Connellys. So I wanted to make sure. I was pretty sure it was. Because I keep getting him mixed up with the guy that did, I can't remember the show. The other one that I was talking about on Amazon. The kind of kid spy thriller type.
Huh?
It's another best-selling author that's got a series about high school students. It's a suspense kind of spy thriller-ish. And every time I put this black around, should pop right back out. Like they're changing the soundtrack.
Well, this is a tad bit different. Oh. Are you planning on doing something for the werewolves story? I don't know, man. I don't know. I just don't know. Thought about it. My fall break starts when I get home tomorrow. So, I got a little bit of time coming up right before it'd be due. I just don't. I don't know. Like I said last time, I don't know. I've always felt like there's something to werewolves literature. Like but I don't know how to crack it. And what's worse is I don't know if I've ever seen it really. Like I'm wanting something from it, but I don't know what that is, so I don't know how to deliver it either.
Have you ever read The Howling?
No?
Like, as a book instead of the movie?
Right, I just knew it as a movie.
Yeah, the movie was made from the book.
Okay, I assume as much as you said you read it.
Yeah, so I guess I'm recommending you read it because you might get something out of it that you are looking to find, because it is a really, really good werewolf story overall. It's better than the movie. Some of it is the same as the movie. Some of it's vastly different. It's on a different coast, so there's different. Trying to think of what I would say, but like it's in California, so there's a different feel to it than it being in New England, which I don't think they achieved in the movie either. But like there was no New England; it was much more California in the movie. They just called it New England.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you've ever been to New England, you know the difference.
Well, that's like watching, the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and it's set in Muncie, Indiana, with mountains. It's just
right.
No, but whatever.
Well, see, if you read the book, there is much more about the woods than the ocean, and most of the population in Maine and most, well, I guess depends on where you're at in New England, but in Maine particularly, is basically on the coast. Hey, Efrain.
Hey, Efrain.
So, if you watch the movie, there's nothing particularly seaworthy, and I think that's part of the whole New England thing. Is England is an island, and New England is not an island, but really access to the sea pretty much everywhere. I think maybe New Hampshire might have low or no access, or I might be confusing New Hampshire and Vermont. I do that because they're, states I passed through, not hang out in.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's true. Like, we go to New Hampshire for like ice castles, and once in a while we'll hit like Laconia or something like that. That's rarer as we get older, but
Efrain said, "Come to Peru to visit Machu Picchu."
yeah, I think I would die trying to climb to visit Machu Picchu. I mean, if I survived, it would be a great view, but
Might be the last one you have.
yeah, I'm not betting on surviving. Especially climbing Machu Picchu. used to have a friend that said he loved to draw trees because you can never draw trees wrong. But he's wrong.
I think that's not true.
That's what I was saying, but he's wrong.
Yeah.
There is a rule to trees, believe it or not. It's a simple enough rule, but there is. And that is, if the branches go up and away, they never go down. They will always go up and away. They might curve back down later on, but they're always going to branch off up and away. If they go down, it's the same way. They're more straight at an angle to go down. And you can see that also in evergreen trees. I use that word because it's a blanket term. But some types of trees, the boughs go down at an angle, like you see cartoon Christmas trees do.
Yeah.
And some actually go up at an angle. But never do they do both. So that's the interesting rule on trees, right? Is that if you're going to do the branches going up, do the branches going up all the time. It will look more natural and more believable. I was going to do this part with marker, and I decided I could paint it just as easily.
Okay.
So, technically, it's not just as easy. Not just as easy. It's not difficult, but it's not just as easy.
I kind of wondered when you said you could do it just as easily. I was like, because earlier I thought to myself, if it's just going to be black, a marker might be faster. But
well, it would be faster. Definitely would be.
I also understand that, hey, if you want to do it by painting it, you paint it. I mean, I just, that's what I was thinking. But I was like, it's your art, whatever. But to hear you say that you thought about it too.
Yep. So the tree's going in for contrast, right? That is the single purpose of the tree. Originally, like I did a different one of these, and a lot of people liked it, which is why I decided to do another one that would also go into that possible giveaway category. It doesn't look like we're ever going to get to 200, so the giveaway maybe never going to happen.
Never know.
But
like I just sold that story in my author's bio. I mentioned this.
I said it doesn't look like it. I didn't say it wasn't going to ever happen. I just said it didn't look like it. Because we've been hovering around 180 to 183, back and forth to 180 and 183 for 6 months or more, and we've done a couple of giveaways. I find that people show up for the giveaway and then they cease to show up. And apparently some people follow us or like or subscribe, and then they get their giveaway, or they don't get their giveaway and they back to like or subscribe. Get some water on this paint now. Especially the paint that's not opened tends to dry pretty fast, which is kind of why I use it, but I want it to be malleable for now. Keeping it wet and using the opens are more a matter of being able to mix them while they're on the canvas. I'm not really concerned with that because I'm just backward. I would like them to look fairly solid. I'm so tempted to pull out my inking brushes, but I don't want to screw them up. They're way more expensive than these. So Joe that used to show up here sometimes, not my cousin, but the other one.
Okay.
He lives in Florida too.
Oh yeah.
They had power outages. I think he said it wasn't too bad where he is. It's just the power outages kind of suck. They're just starting to get power back around that area. So I guess that was more good news, is that we know of another person that made it through, and there's still some rough stuff going on there. So they pretty much have my prayers and support. Wow, we went from 4 to 1.
It was all that talk about trees.
Yeah, like I'm sure that
I thought it was interesting. I don't care.
I'm sure it couldn't be for the prayers for those in Florida.
Oh, I doubt it.
Well, you never know.
I'd hope not.
You know, I hope not as well. Because, you know, we can only do so much, and everything I can do, I'm trying to do. Even if it's only a prayer, somebody's thinking about them. You know, I share all the grassroots posts that I can see, showing what's needed and what's been done, so that they know that they haven't been forgotten. Crap, I'm gonna have to mix another. That's probably where the pen would have been better. Yeah, it's a non-political thing where this is concerned. I mean, obviously, the crap that's happening is partially political, but that's not why I'm interested in and focused on it, because it's a matter of humans in need. And so I will pound it on Facebook until Facebook kicks me off, which they've already dimmed some posts, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna stop saying what I'm saying and stop showing what I'm showing, because those people are too important. It disgusts me to think that mothers have to write their children's name on their bellies and vice versa. So that if someone dies, people know who they're associated with, or where to find their parents or siblings or whatever. It's just disgusting to me to think that. And that whole $750 thing is driving me batty too, because that $750 is not giving you $750. First of all, they can reject you, and they have rejected people. They were rejecting an old lady in a wheelchair.
Wow. Well, yeah, they can't grift off of these people, so they.
And the other part of it, just to get it out before I forget it, is that that's not giving you the money. There's very, very fine print. There's fine print, and then there's very, very fine print that says if you don't pay it back in a year, you you lose your house, your land, your property.
Well, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, because it's a loan. It is not giving you money. It's a loan. And that disgusts me most of all. So FEMA has X amount of money that they've just before, you know how they were saying they needed to call back in the Senate to vote for more money for FEMA?
Yeah.
The speaker said that just before they left, they just gave them billions more.
Well, yeah, but they've been spending it on migrants.
Yeah, but they haven't been. The session hasn't been closed for all that long. You know what I mean? They're making it out to sound like these guys just don't care, when in fact they've already granted what the current administration is asking for, and they're just not using it. And then when they are, even their money that they give them, they're giving it as a loan. So you think that they're going to pay back the taxpayers who are, giving them the money to loan out? At least a bank will give you money for using your money,
Well, I mean, it's not like they give Ukraine loans. They just give Ukraine millions and millions and millions of dollars.
And they just gave them another 432,000 or something like that this yesterday.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They gave Lebanon money, and they got money for all kinds of people as long as you're not an American.
What do we know about Lebanon?
Huh?
I said, what do we know about Lebanon? Like, not the fact that they attacked our embassy and killed our ambassador, tortured him live on TV. Right? Nothing to see here. Oh, they're starving. Oh, they haven't got any water. Anybody else discussed it, or is it just me? Because I'll die on this hill, I guess.
Well, again, I don't. We always have money for other people, and it's like just Meanwhile, they call large swaths of Americans deplorables, and all this stuff. It's like, wait, hold on.
Right. When it comes to helping out people that are in need.
Yeah, I know. It's always these deplorables that go out there and help, and it's like, yeah, nice.
I have a nephew that actually just went down to help in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of him. I actually haven't ever had much of a conversation with him, but you got to be proud of that,
Yeah.
And the reports, I'm hearing all over the place that these reports are true, So like all this crap that's happening with goods being confiscated and given to, and like there's been people I know of that followed these government vehicles when they stopped and confiscated the goods and said, oh, we're going to distribute them because you don't have permits to distribute them or whatever. And they followed the trucks and seen them distributing them, these aid for tornado victims being distributed to the same people that they were distributing the money instead of, giving it to those who need it.
Nice.
So they're literally taking life-giving supplies it just disgusts me, man. It just disgusts me. Like, I ain't perfect, but man, how do you live with yourself and do that shit?
I don't know.
No person's less of a person, whether or not you agree with their politics. They're still people. Chances are, some of these people actually gave you the money that you're using to give to other people when they need it. What do you think makes a werewolf story so hard to write for you?
I don't know. I think it's well, there are a lot of logistical things. That's part of it. I guess it's about trying to find something that brings something new to the whole issue that hasn't already been done, and in a way that I care to do it. So,
so then that begs the question: what do you know that's been done?
Pardon me?
So then that begs the question: what do you know has been done?
Off the top of my head?
Well, I mean, because that's what you were saying. You're saying, bringing something new to it that hasn't been done. Like, I don't think it's any different in exploration, if you're exploring, of human nature than like a vampire story or sci-fi story or any other type of story, really. It just depends on how you use it. As far as trying to be original, we've had that argument before, but I think it would be much harder to be original in like sci-fi, or especially in a shared world. You can apply almost anything that you would do in any other genre fiction to it.
Well, okay, but by that argument, I
That
would
was an
counter
argument?
with it's a position that you've taken.
Well, it's an observation that I've made, but yeah,
Okay. So to test the observation then, if you can apply anything from any other convention, then why are you doing it with a werewolf?
Same thing as you can ask that question of any other convention. And I'm not saying that, I mean, you can mix any genres and come up with something unique. But your task, if you're going to mix them, is to make it so that it's believable, so somebody wants to read it, right? But
Yeah.
like, I'm not saying necessarily that you could introduce the same problem as in like you can't well, you may be able to. I wouldn't have to think of it, but like, I'm not saying you can do 2001: A Space Odyssey with werewolves. I mean, you probably could. I mean, there's probably a way. But that's not what I mean when I say that. I'm like, no matter what you're writing in, whether you're writing in fantasy, sci-fi, horror, adventure, alternate history, all of that, you're writing about the human condition, right?
Okay.
You're making observations or stating beliefs or showing beliefs, right?
Yeah.
That relate. So you can do that with a werewolf. You can do that with a situation with a werewolf, because then that becomes the problem. The werewolf becomes the problem, right? and then
Yeah.
you just ask whether the main character's problem is that they're a werewolf, or whether they have to survive being a werewolf, or like you probably could find alternative problems, but you're just basically centering the problem of the story around the werewolf. I've seen it done. I've actually, like, if you read The Wolf's Hour,
Okay, wait.
the main character is a werewolf, but he's in World War II.
Yeah.
So, if the problem isn't being a werewolf in World War II, the problem is whatever is going on in World War II. They just employ him as like a spy or a James Bond type character.
Right. And that's okay. So again, don't get me wrong. I am not saying that there is nothing to. In fact, I am saying quite the opposite. I am positive there is something there in werewolf fiction.
Yeah, that's what you said. I was just wondering what your
nothing
was.
Nothing that I have seen has scratched the itch that seems to be there for me. So I keep going back. I don't know. Which is kind of frustrating, I guess. Because I don't know exactly what I'm looking for. I can't write it. I haven't found it. And
it's so weird for me because you're in Indiana, and I'm pretty sure there are werewolf legends from Indiana. Like, it's been a while, but I recall a couple of legends of werewolves that I wanted to say one of them was in Indiana. A werewolf ran past somebody's car and clawed the whole length of the car. And didn't tell you why. I mean, there was no like, oh, this is because of this. It's kind of like was it Mothman in Virginia?
yeah,
Is it Virginia?
I think it's either Virginia or West Virginia. My son is enthralled with that.
Yeah. Jonathan Mayberry did a anthology based on that.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Like I submitted this story, but it never got anywhere. Like I don't think I understand the mechanics of Mothman stories because
They don't seem
they're like enigmas where it's whether or not are they warning you, or are they precursors to danger? Like there's this open question, but you can't make them a monster and be acceptable because nobody wants to have them be a monster. And I'm like, but they're monsters. So like when I ask you about the whole werewolf thing, I'm wondering if it's like that. It's like, you think that no matter what you're writing, you're constrained in some way because of it?
Hold on a second. My wife's talking to me. I gotta answer this. Okay, hold that thought. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Anyway, I'm sorry. My wife needed me for something.
I'll be sorry. Gotta do what you gotta do.
But you were saying about werewolves and Mothman and...
Oh, I was just, saying, do you feel like you're limited? Like the Mothman prophecies or Mothman stories that I've seen, they're all kind of limited to the scope of whether or not they're predictors or harbingers of tragedy or harbingers of death or whatever. And I'm just wondering if that you feel like you're limited because it's a monster, or whatever.
No.
Okay. Well, that's what I was asking, really. Just trying to figure out because, like, the story that I've got that I'm working on is predicated on one of the reasons for murder, one of the motives for murder, right? Okay. So it's not just a monster story. There's a reason that the monster is doing what they're doing, or for this story to take place, other than just being, oh, it's a werewolf. And don't get me wrong, like, just werewolves fighting would be enough for me to watch, but but I know it's not like that with everybody, so. But I also, or you should know by now, really, really love history. So if I put it in a historical setting and like really make it a true historical milieu, then that gives rise to its own conflicts and problems. And it's kind of what I'm trying to do. I set it in a time period where I knew there was already other conflict going on.
Yeah.
And that was intentional because I wanted it to be woven in between in a war you've got, in any war, and what I've noticed, you've got both war, and that's a conflict of its own. Sometimes the soldiers are in conflict with the commander, and then on the home front, there's almost always either protesters or people that frown upon or look down upon the people that are actually going to war, right? So okay. You've got a lot of this going on, and then you've got, because of the time period, it's actually 1625. There's a class system that they automatically look down upon you for, or whatever. Yeah. And I've chosen a country that's a really proud country, right? So it's just another, like, just one more step to show, I don't want to say like the depravity of humanity, but it's the duality of man, I guess, really, because and then I really love Philip K. Dick's themes which is usually what is it to be human. So I'm trying to employ all this like hero, because the country that I'm choosing to go with is a country that doesn't look kindly on people that aren't that, well, at that time, that didn't just stand up and fight. Like you couldn't just get away with watching everybody fight. You would either be a coward or you'd be right involved. So it makes it more interesting, and there's a lot more aspects to it. And like I said, like uh, the limit is 4,000 words, and I'm trying to make this a 2,000 word story because I know I'm going to go over by at least 2,000. But I also like kind of exploring the language of this people. They're really poetic for all their warrior and quick to sword fight and all this other stuff. They're real poets in the way they think and the way they talk. And the irony is that I'm doing that, but I'm doing that with somebody that's not from this country. So I don't know. That's the challenges for me. The soundtrack has changed again.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like the fact that it's not staying on just one. I normally don't try to involve vocals in background music.
Yeah.
It's distracting for me, but this is only a little bit and not very distracting. What was I going to do? Do you remember?
There was something you said you were going to have to open or mix something.
What's that?
There was something you said you had to like mix or open.
I needed to mix a lighter blue again so that I can cover the spots that I accidentally poked with the black. And this is not letting me close on it. It's not broken. So, if you want to, like if you like something in the soundtrack or whatever, and you want to listen to it while you're writing or whatnot, you can always make a unscheduled stream and pop in and never actually go live.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I never thought about that, but yeah.
I just thought you might be interested in, and like I've got a lot of this stuff downloaded, so I can send you a zip file too. So I've decided I am going to go into this with the markers. But what I'm going to do is, like, I think I'm pretty much done with what I'm doing with the tree. What I'm going to do is just clean up the wand over the paint.
Okay.
But first, there's a couple of things that I wanted to do. One of them is I want to hit a little bit of color on the outside of those ribs. To distinguish it from the shadow of the tree, but not much, just enough to hint. So I'm going to use green gold. Suppose I could mix green gold with brown, which I might do. We keep bouncing back and forth from having viewers to not.
Well, that happens all the time.
We have one person that views the whole time. I don't think they ever talk. I suspect I know, or I have a guess on who it is, because there's a person that likes every time I post it in the Dave Finch room.
Oh, yeah?
So, that could possibly be them. Yeah, so I'm trying to work on this story as well as work on the novel, because I'm trying to get about 3,000 words or / a chapter done a week, and I haven't been able to keep that rhythm. And like I said, mostly it's because this is not normally what I would be choosing for subject matter, so it's harder for me to get into that mentality. Alright, so the other thing I was talking about doing, I don't know if you remember, but I specifically told you last time, was light flare.
Okay.
I was saying that's why I lightened it up in here more than up here.
Okay.
because I wanted it to seem like candlelight white flare.
Yeah.
I've gotta have it lighter than this. So that means I have to take yellow and heighten the value of the yellow. And try to do it without infecting it with the blue that I was just mixing. Guess I'm gonna have to pour more white anyway. Ah.
Yeah, this soundtrack is kind of all over the place. This playlist.
Kind of cool though, right? Because of it. You like that change, huh?
Yeah, that's a little different.
I don't know what Jake put on in what order, but I really didn't care. I wanted it to have those different aspects. So it doesn't necessarily feel like just one thing, right?
Right.
There is a whole bunch. Like I wanted to make a, like, if I could do it on my own, where I had the time and knowledge and equipment, not equipment, programs or whatever. And I think I would make a couple of playlists that are I don't like it. That makes more sense. Yeah. The brush is too wet to have the effect I want.
Uh-oh. I'm watching you do this painting, right? And you remember the whole, the trust the process stage? Like, for a while, it was like, I was like, what the heck is he doing? I love it.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah, well, you pull it off, so it doesn't really matter. It makes it kind of entertaining.
I'm just kidding. I know what I'm doing. Like, everything I'm doing is to create that glow look,
Right?
and it looks way brighter when I look over at the screen. It looks way brighter than what it looks like as I'm working on it. So. I said I have a reference of one of my own jack-o'-lantern. So when I'm doing this light flare, which I really like to do these, they're kind of fun. But when I'm doing these light flares, I know what I'm doing. If something's wrong, I immediately can identify it. And part of the success or failure of this light flare is whether it looks like it's light enough inside for that to be the candlelight. I'm also not afraid to, mix more of that color and go with it, So, like, I can get a red-brown mixture that looks similar to what's going on there, even though I'm dry brushing red over top of brown there. That was stupid, I just smeared that. But the great thing about that smear is it a little bit of white flare from inside this eye socket. The main thing is that the center of the light flare this part has to be the brightest spot, but it also has to be bright enough in the background to look like it. Fortunately, got quite a bit of playroom. I think, like, barring some little touch-ups here and there, that I'm going to let it dry for a minute and then hit the line work. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a limit to the size music file that we can put on here.
Oh yeah.
So what we're doing is that Jake's combining as many as he can to fit within that limit. I'm very appreciative of him taking the time to help out, because that music can get old after a while. Now we can switch about, and I think that'll help with not as old. You don't feel like it's getting as old. All right, I think that's that. And you know, every time I say that's that, I find just one more thing.
One more thing to play with.
Well, it's not really play with. It's just one detail I overlooked or whatever. I'm gonna just one more brightness. Glare on his arm. It's really, I'm just tinkering with the rest of the drawing. Tinkering is usually a good thing. So everything should be readable. Can you read the ribs in here? It doesn't have to be bright, just readable.
It's readable to me.
I can hit it one more time. I don't want to overdo it because I don't want it to be overly bright. But If you wanted to be seen. That should be a little bit more readable. Yeah. So now touch up a couple of lines throughout here. Well, let it dry for a second, then touch up a couple of lines throughout here. And signature, and then the fun part.
Tearing off the paint or the tape?
Tearing off the tape, yeah. Tearing off the tape. That's the fun part. None of this should be overly long drying, so but I do want to make sure it's dry enough to throw over. This stuff should be dry enough pretty quickly. This is the last thing I did, but it seems like even that's dry. So.
You think I can get away with starting a story without my protagonist?
I did. I just did that for this novel. What type of story is it?
Short story.
No. What type of story? What genre? Certain genres are more welcoming of that than others.
I guess murder mystery.
Well, then, if it's a murder mystery and you're showing the murder, yeah. Sword and sorcery, you're almost expected to show the antagonist first. Kind of give the reader an idea of the evil plan that the unknowing protagonist is going to have to defeat. So when I ask what kind of story, that's what I mean. Like the one that I'm beginning, I treated it like Sword and Sorcery, where I started with the villainess. Is that what you're thinking? Something like that? Well, you didn't have to be. I'm just asking. Like, I'm asking for broad strokes, I guess. Not, you know.
No, I mean like. You know how on Law and Order at the beginning of every single episode, there's some poor schlub walking around. They find the dead body.
Yeah, or a murderer and somebody screaming.
Right. But it always starts with something kind of. You're never going to see these characters again. Nobody cares. And it's almost like that. My idea.
There's a question inherent in that. Like, is it going to be Were there throwaway characters?
No.
Should
No,
I stop asking the questions? Because I can't, I guess.
I have an idea for a werewolf story that might work, but every single thing that I know tells me it would never ever get past an editor.
Why?
Because the way I think would be most interesting to write it, I don't know if because the werewolf aspect of it would show up a lot later.
Well, to be honest, the werewolf aspect didn't show up in the beginning of mine. I'm relying on the other thing that Dave talked about. Dave talked about if you're not, like, especially in a horror story, you can start with evocative language instead of trying to start with, giving away the whole thing right at once. I don't think it needs to be a secret per se. But the way my story is formulated, it doesn't start off with a werewolf. It does start off with a guy who has a haunted past, bad memories that he's trying to get rid of. And I think that it will. I don't intend to just jump right into being werewolf, right? Yeah. I've already got 500 words, and it's not even close to it. But it's setting up a situation that he's going to have to deal with it. Going to have to deal with one, at least. But that's actually part of the twist story too, right? Like it's not supposed to be an out and out just run for your life, there's a werewolf on the loose type of story, because that I think has been overplayed, right? That is the aspect of werewolf stories or monster stories that have been overplayed. I'm thinking much more like, I don't know, like a very short idea of Godzilla -1. Like, it may not be as detailed of an opening, but the point is that it's about a person and the person story. I love to do werewolves. I love to write about werewolves. So the last time I wrote a story about werewolves, it was the werewolf was the protagonist. And that's not my intent at all with this story. Although the werewolf is not necessarily a bad guy, just a cursed being kind of thing, right? So, yeah. I mean, that is one of the premises of werewolf stories, is that somebody is either trying to break the curse or trying to restrain themselves so that they don't end up killing innocent people. And I'm approaching it as, like, well, not a murder mystery, but the other end of it, like there's a reason to kill, right? Like right. If you want to keep that secret, there's a reason to kill. So if you were a werewolf and you were in a war-torn era, basically, what would you do? Like, I would feel a lot better about going to war to defend my country and ending up devouring the enemy than trying to stay at home and not devour my own people. But what if you were someone that didn't know anything about it, and you like walked in on something that you shouldn't have? So, like, these are the things that I've been thinking about, and like kicking around in my brain that I wanted to make the protagonist as much of a real, relatable person as I could before worrying about putting him in danger, or making it like he's kind of a superhero or something. Because a lot of werewolf fiction, you end up with either werewolf hunters that are ridiculously skilled for people who don't know there's a werewolf around, or have to be called in or something. And then I guess it kind of loses some of the fun for me if you have to call in a werewolf hunter and they just basically go kill the werewolf, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to think of the way I can explore this human, non-werewolf character. In a situation where he has really no choice but to deal with the werewolf. And to try to make it where he doesn't know what's going on. Like, he doesn't know that he's dealing with a werewolf. Even though he's kind of got a history with weird shit happening. All that, and I'm trying to fit it in a like 2,000 to 4,000 word story. It really sucks. I really don't like limitations. That's the thing. I don't like limitations. I want to be able to write however much I want to or feel like I need to write. I think that should be like a rule to writing. You don't limit someone's writing. Well, I guess unless you're paying, right, by the word, that sucks. Because on the one hand, you can kind of understand not wanting to pay $3,000 for a story that you're going to use for 6 months without them being able to reuse it.
Right.
If I'd have known you were interested, I would have talked to you about working on it together.
I don't know.
I just can't help but think if we were to work out a way to work together, a way that we could get accustomed to working together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a method that way we didn't have to think or explain or whatever. We could just go. I can't help but think that if we did, we both have enough good ideas that we could literally bounce back and forth off each other and not have too much of an issue. I wonder what our output could be if we could do that. I've always been interested in, collaborating. Which is really odd because at the same time, I'm very protective over my ideas. And it's kind of weird because it's not like I think that anybody else's ideas aren't good. It's just that when I cling to something, I want that something there.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like if I was going to work with somebody, I couldn't start with something that I already had plotted out unless I was plotting and they were writing. You know what I mean? Like, if I was to plot and give you my whole plot and just let you realize it the way you wanted to, I think that would be an easier way for me to deal with that. Like, I have a hard time thinking of it. Damn it, there's going to be a thicker black part here than I intended to begin with, but you know what? I am not repainting that again. I will add another layer of black inside here to sharpen it. And hopefully do so without screwing up the edge. Paint has a texture too. Guess part of me wants to be James Patterson.
There you go.
I can just make up some shit and hand it off and
Get an idea.
For everything. Take credit for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, but doesn't that also help other writers? I mean, as much as I see it somewhat as being exploitive, there are benefits to being a writer with him because you also get a claim you're a New York Times bestseller.
Yeah, you become a New York Times bestseller pretty quick because, well, unless that book doesn't become one, and that's possible because not all New York Times bestsellers are always bestsellers.
Right.
So, like, not every book is going to run the same.
But that gets you a lot of exposure. And you get to work with guys.
I mean, like, we're on the same page with that. Yeah, definitely. I think there's more benefits to drawbacks.
Okay, but yeah, I was talking to the school librarian the other day, and by what I had said, she had gotten the invitation that it was an exploitive arrangement, and I was like, no, not at all. Like, it is like there's a little bit of exploitation, I guess, but I think the benefit, people are getting paid. They're entering into this willingly, and there is a large benefit for them too. So
Yeah.
I don't think it crosses the line into exploitation at all.
Well,
Unless something else is going on I don't know about. But
I don't know if I would even discuss that because I know a little bit. I've got a little bit insider information because I took his writing course.
all right, we both didn't we? The master class?
Did we? Yeah, did we both do it?
Yeah. Yeah, we
I
did.
know I did, but I didn't know if he did.
I did.
But so yeah, you have that same insight. Is that he picks people from those classes as well. So I think it's a pretty cool. I don't know if I want to say policy, but I think it's a pretty cool idea that you're not only giving them instruction, that you're giving them hand up as well.
Yeah.
Now, yes, it's all going to come back to James Patterson because it's his name that sells it. And you're not going to get anywhere near the same deal as he's going to get.
Right.
That's understood, going in. And I don't think that's unfair because, the man did create something to work with.
Yeah.
And he's giving you a hand up. Well, ostensibly giving you a hand up. I don't know how it works out for everybody, so I don't want to make claims that, he's doing something that he's not. But I do think that he's out to help writers. And, he should get rewarded a little bit for helping out those writers. That's totally a worthwhile thing. I would pay to get what he gives you, right?
Yeah, probably.
How many writers' courses or how many books or whatever have you paid for?
Right.
Just to learn how to do the stuff that he's already, teaching you, and then not only teaching you, helping you get a contract or whatever. And not only that, he also, I don't know if you think about it in these terms, but not only is he helping you get a name, he's also helping you learn how to work from an outline.
Yeah.
So, that I think is very valuable because a lot of people right now, a lot of writers I know of, they're pantsers, and they have no idea how to work from an outline if they're a pantser, because they don't think that you can write a story from an outline and have it be just as exciting or just as good, which I think is a misconception.
I agree.
And I think you learn that if you're working with him in such a way. I think that's one of the big takeaways from it. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. I feel like that would be one of the bigger takeaways from it. And of course, you could feel different. But yeah, like you get a name, you get published with a big name, possibly be a New York Times bestseller the first time out. You get to work from an outline from somebody who knows how to outline and make their living from it. And you get taught, the secrets of writing, that type of thing. That's a lot for your money. Oh, crap. It had to have more weight on that edge. Well, first of all, contrast. Second of all, that's where I've inherently shown the light. So there needs to be a little bit more there. Doesn't dry quick enough though. All right. Now let's see if I can carefully put that line back in. I think it's just the wrong angle, so I'm gonna have to turn this thing upside down. Okay. I think that's pretty close to it. I'm gonna have to sign it pretty soon. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself.
Call it a night. Back to writing.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it calling it a night, but yeah, like going back to writing is probably the actual thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying the stream, that's all.
Considering I'm yeah. Not quite dry enough, you motherless.
That's true, it is motherless. It's ink or pigment.
Yeah, the rest of that statement is usually motherless son of a goat. It's funny because Eli will finish my statements off like that.
Yeah. Okay, so why do you need the black line on that? Because you outlined.
Consistency, only because there's black lines around every other part.
Okay.
So I guess I don't technically need the black line around it, but there's black lines around everything else. So to have the paint kind of cover the black line, but not really cover the black line, I'm not worried about it here because I've got some line variance where it's thinner here and thicker on this side. But that's pretty much the outline, and the outer outline of everything is pretty much thicker black. So, but yeah, that was done. I thought I was pulling the cap off, and the cap was falling off, so I'm just pulling the ink. All right, so.
Not to be too evil to our audience, but when we're done, I want to run something by you off stream.
I actually redesigned my signature because I wanted it to look like kind of claw marks. So, for some reason, my old signature, everyone was thinking it was looking like a BW because they were connected. So,
Okay.
yeah, my old signature was, I would do like this. And for some reason they were thinking that was a B.
Okay, I can't see anything that you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So
I didn't think it looked like a B, but other people
neither did I.
So I changed it now. It's like more like a wolf scratch.
Yeah.
Speaking of werewolves, where?
Yeah.
All right, so give it a minute, and then we'll peel this mofo down. I will toss my paint plate, my palette, so that I am not tempted to go back into it and repaint. The thing is, it's supposed to be for fun, not, like I'm not trying to do a realistic thing or a book cover or whatever. The tape is actually coming off part of this, so that might be a good thing. We have two viewers. Are they going to stay the whole time while I peel the tape? Cool, we're ending a little bit early. I was hoping to end a little bit even earlier, but I should have known circumstances. This all should be dry, right? Except for this stuff. Follow. That's the one you missed. Like, subscribe, follow. Like and subscribe is pretty much just for YouTube. I guess, well, no, follow us for YouTube as well.
Well, whatever. I said whatever the algorithm desires.
Yeah, it just depends on whether it's Twitch or YouTube. Because the algorithms have different desires.
Right.
I'm hearing all kinds of stuff. I hear that Twitch is dying, and I see that I've seen a few people that I follow their streams when I can. Their numbers are vastly down.
Some people might be a little distraught over this. They might find it nerve-wracking.
What's that?
Well, I fully enjoy the peeling of the tape. You know how close, you could tear your painting. Get a nice little, where like the top part of the paper peels off. Or some shit like that.
Yeah, sometimes that's happened. It doesn't happen with arches as much, This happens more with this paper as well. Like the paint goes underneath of the tape.
Yeah.
So one of the secrets to peeling tape is if you fold it over and keep it as low to the surface as you can, it generally peels a little better without ripping. If you can warm it up, that's another way that it will peel a little bit better.
Yeah, I used to always use a hairdryer.
Yeah, that's one way. Like, as we've discovered when I tried to dry paint before, like I don't have enough plugs or room in the plug that I have to run a hairdryer as well, or to run the hairdryer we have as well. It's like I'm erasing all this crap on the edge. So yeah, like I try to leave a little bit up, and then when I'm peeling, I peel. I'm literally almost pushing down on the tape that I'm crossing. Like where my finger is crossing right here is pushing pretty much flat. I do that until I get to an area that I feel like it's starting to get away from me, and then I'll crumple it up a little bit. And then do the same thing pretty much. It's a patience thing as well too. If you're in a rush peeling the tape off, you're probably gonna rip the shit out of something.
Yeah.
So when I bunch it up, I hold it off to the side like this.
Yeah.
So that I'm not trying to bunch it up and peel back while it's all sticky and could possibly fall right across the painting and stuff. Just tips for those who want to peel the tape off without ruining their painting. Yeah. This is also not watercolor. And that matters because this paint is thicker than watercolor. And acrylic paint, as we've already discussed, when it dries, with the tape is ripping. When acrylic paint dries, it turns to vinyl. So you're literally peeling this plastic edge or vinyl edge. Because it was made to paint on movie sets. Oh, my knees are hurting. I gotta lift the seat up and realize broken my chair. It's a gamer chair, and I only sit in it the 3 days a week that I stream.
Yeah. Unless
I'm seriously hard at something like painting for somebody, which since I've been streaming, I generally do that on stream anyway. But he's been using the chair, and he'll hop around in it, jump around in it, slam it up, slam it down. And like, I gave him my last one because he ruined it. How about you ruin your own chair more instead of mine?
That's no fun.
Well, we're not a very big place, and we have very few chairs in it. Actually, when we got this one, we had two. The one that I gave him that he destroyed, and this one. And then we got a couple of them, and now he's got a recliner in his room, and he's got, oh, this is doing the same thing. The tape doesn't want to hold it together. Yeah, now we've got a whole bunch of chairs, and he still tears this one.
The fun one.
It's not really all that fun. The chair's not all that fun. Tearing it up, I can't imagine it's all that fun. Because, you know, he just bolts. Does some minor damage to the chair, and then takes off and rides his bike. Yeah, it's already ripping. I'm not even there yet. I thought maybe it would be a little bit easier because that top part had been starting to peel anyway.
Yeah.
And it's been raining for the last couple of days, so there's been a lot of moisture in the air, and usually moisture is kind of the enemy of glue. Yeah, see, this is what you were talking about. Look at what you did, you jinxed me.
You're welcome. I tried really hard.
Did you see how I fixed it?
Oh, what'd you do?
I'm pulling at an angle so that the tape pulls down instead of up. It's ripping the tape on part of it too, but yeah. The bottom part's gonna be a mofo. Surprised you was not down here. You're usually bugging the shit out of me to get done so that he can move this stuff over. So weird. It bugs the shit out of me to move over here because I come over here usually a half an hour before. The bottom is just gonna rip. Thank you. Thanks. Fuck. I guess as long as the painting doesn't rip, we're winning, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I think it's overly important, like for your border edge to be perfect. You can, like that's, you know I'm going to do that, don't you?
What?
Well, what would you do to it?
I'd cut it off because I'm lazy. Or I would.
I'm not going to cut it off.
I would mat it.
one of these sandpaper sharpeners. And try to sand it smoother. I may end up having to freaking paint that border, which I hate because then it will be discolored from the rest of the piece. But this, the border is actually where it's going to be if somebody puts it in a frame. That's what the border is for, so that the frame can have something to cling to without clinging to the actual picture. But yeah, there it goes.
There we go.
So there it is. I don't know if it's cool or not, but it's there. It's done.
Okay.
I've done my piece. Next, it'll be back to the quality paper. I've got to finagle the images around to fit. Because the paper that I did your drawings on is the same size as the artist paper I intend to paint it on.
Okay.
So need to move some stuff around to make it work. I did go to Staples and get the pieces enlarged that I needed to, and then the other pieces to where I can manipulate them a little bit better. Okay. Now I just have to print them off and see if they print off right, because sometimes that happens and sometimes it don't. So should we do a Halloween giveaway, or should we just stay and see if we can get to that 200 mark?
I would do a Halloween giveaway. But yeah, I would do it after Halloween.
After Halloween giveaway after Halloween.
No. Here's what you do.
Next year.
No. You I'll tell you more about it off stream. Okay? We'll discuss it off stream. I'll tell you about it. Just trust me. I got an idea for you.
Okay.
Well, I want to run it by you off stream first.
All right. Well, we're at that point anyway, so this is done. We're not going to stick a fork in it, but it will either be mailed out to a winner or not.
Something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Like always, if somebody wants to buy it before I get it, get a giveaway going, then it's all work is for sale. All work is for sale. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So anyone that watched and talked, and well, that's Ephraim's the only one that talked today, but thank y'all for watching, liking, subscribing, thumbs up, and whatever you did, following.
Yeah.
whatever you did. Good night. God bless. Much love.
Peace.